Welcome back to E3 2017 here at Square Enix Presents. I'm Will Powers, and we are here showing off Kingdom Come Deliverance with Warhorse Studios PR manager Toby, and I can't pronounce your last name because it's like 26 letters.
Not even German ones can pronounce it.
But Stolazwilling.
Exactly. Almost like your name, actually.
Perfect. So yeah, we're gonna show off. Is really excited about this one because this is 100% my type of game. I love medieval lore, medieval fiction, but this is real fiction. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But yeah, this is really a hardcore RPG that you guys have created in Warhorse Studios in Prague, Czech Republic.
Exactly. That's what we were working on. We thought that there are a lot of medieval settings out there, but we try to have another approach there. We try to make it more realistic. And actually the interesting part is, as you said, real fiction. This is something that really happened. So this is based on a true story. Most of the NPCs actually really lived, and all those castles, villages, cities you will meet in the game or you will visit in the game actually really existed or are still existing today.
Perfect. So we're going to go ahead and jump into the gameplay because as much as I'm sure you love to hear us talk, you want to see the game. But before we're doing that and while the game's loading, we just had a big announcement last Friday. We announced the release date of the game, didn't we, Toby?
Yes, we did that. It was really cool. We had a cool new trailer. I hope you all saw that. And we announced that we are going to release the game on February 13th.
February 13th, globally across the world. So it's super exciting. We finally have a release date for this project because people really want to see it. People want to get their hands on it. This is obviously a Kickstarter backer project, so the backers have been super supportive over the years, and you've continued to release little tidbits for them to play as you continue development. Personally, I love your guys' development style. It's very open. It's very honest with the community. Every time you hit a milestone, you convey that information to them, and you deliver builds for them to play continually so that they get their hands on the game as you develop it.
Exactly, that's what we did. We were on Kickstarter like several years ago, and from day one actually, because back then for us it was really sink or swim.
Right.
And since we swam, fortunately, we were in very close, or we still are in very close contact with our community, and tried to deliver that and work with them into the game. So we showed them, as you said, several alphas, how we called them back then. We showed them what we are working on. We released or are releasing still some development updates or like dev diaries where we talk about all the wins and fails we have in development. And yeah, we try to be open-minded and be fair to the people, actually. So sometimes it's hard to deliver information where we come to the point where we unfortunately had to change something, let's say. But on the other hand, there are also bright moments where we can add something, or where we worked with the community and asked them about their feedback, what they liked and disliked. And so far, so good, I would say. The feedback we got is very motivating, and people like the way we are going, and we are very, very happy that we have the release date now, and we are looking forward to ship it.
Exactly. And so walk us through what we're seeing here. You've crafted an individual demo for E3 for people to play in the Warhorse booth here, and you're showing it to a select few people, which you guys have been just really excited about, because every time people get their hands on this game, not only do your faces light up and glow because you've been so passionate about it, the team that you guys of developers that you guys have love to show off. This is your baby. You've been working on this for years, and having people play it in the public is always just so thrilling. And the look of excitement for people when they leave the demo is must be great for you guys.
Well, that's a special motivation we have in the studio. That's like the very first idea why we created this game was that we wanted to, of course, well, the studio is full of Czech people since it's in Prague, so those people wanted to tell the stories of their ancestors kind of, but it's a very special motivation we have in this game. And it's like I'm with this team almost a bit more than 3 years right now, and I grew with the project. And we exactly as you said, when I present the game or when people talk about it from the studio, we always have this. It's like you're telling your best friend about that cool game you just saw, and you just want him to like it as well. And that's I think we are all very passionate about the way or the game we are working on. And I think that's good and that's important, and it's motivated and has the flow and power of the community. So that's what we deliver then while presenting.
So what are we seeing here? This is obviously the RPG elements. You're using your different attributes
Yes.
to influence the conversation. Walk me through
Exactly.
it.
Here we have for E3 we have 3 parts of the game. The first one is that's what I'm playing right now is the first quest of the game, and right now in the beginning. Our mother asked us because we are like the rowdy type of guy, so we have bruises on our hands and we overslept, and our father is angry with us that we couldn't wake up and work with him. And our mothers, I will skip through it a bit so we can see more of the game, is asking us some questions, and just only in the beginning you can determine or get some like RPG stats.
All right.
By answering actually the questions your mother asked us. And you see that vitality and pickpocketing went up. And in general, if you want to compare it to another type of game, think of Skyrim. The RPG system works pretty similar, that you only level up the stuff you're actually doing. So the more you sword fight, for example, the better you get at sword fighting, not at defending or something. So it's only learning by doing. And yeah, that's what you have to do in Kingdom Come. So right now we are in our hometown. It's called Silver Skelets. It's a village with a silver mine, and everything is peaceful. This is like the first quest of the game, or the first like section of the game. It's something like a tutorial safe space. You pretty much can't die there. You can if you like screw up here in the quest, but you should not be able to die. But I will spoil you if you like mess with the crime system here, because there's a crime system in the game. If you do bad stuff here, they will lock you up in the prison. But the village, maybe if you saw the trailer, or the ones of you who saw the trailer, they saw fire, like a burning village. Your parents got slaughtered, and this is actually what's going to happen pretty soon. Not in this presentation right now, but if you play through the first parts here, you will the bad army is attacking the bad army, since again it's a historical game kind of. It's the king of Hungary who's attacking, and well, your village is unfortunately a rich village, so they want to rob the silver out of your city. But again, well, for the history buffs among you, we have a codex in the game, which we see here on the right. And the codex introduces you to, for example, the different villages and cities in the game, the events. I told you it's based on historical events, so Silver Skelets really got attacked, so you can see it here, or the characters in the game.
Can
so
you just pause here real quickly?
Yes.
Your art style is incredible, Toby. I mean, these are all hand drawn?
All hand painted. All hand painted by our people.
Yeah, these are just obviously you had inspirations.
Of course.
But
well, exactly. We have a historian in the team who helps us, of course. But she's also digging up books and stuff to recreate the style of the early 15th century. But we have it in all the details. So if we check the map, for example, we also have a map that should look like a map that is something you should find in an early 15th century book. So
I love the fog of war when you zoom out for places that you haven't seen yet.
Exactly. That's a 16 square kilometers. I don't want to show all of it, but it's a 16 square kilometers map of Bohemia, which is today's Czech Republic, Central Europe. So yeah, then we reconstructed this site and gave you the chance to see actually the medieval lifetime in the early 15th century.
So, Toby, for people that may just be joining the stream or aren't familiar with Kingdom Come Deliverance because they haven't been paying attention, shame on you. But can you give them the elevator pitch of what Kingdom Come Deliverance is?
So Kingdom Come Deliverance is an open world RPG set place in Central Europe in the early 15th century, and it's, as I said, an RPG where your decisions matter. What I mean is that, for example, if we talk to this guy, according to your decisions you do in the dialogues, it will somehow change the quests or the outcome of the story. The final end of the story, or like the historical parts, must happen because it's based on a true story, and we want that the story actually happened as it happened. But you are the one who is on the trigger and who's about to decide how those things happen. And it can be in the small events, like here, for example. We have a quest where our father wants us to collect the debt of this drunken guy called Kunesh, and we can now try to persuade him, or we can try to fight him, intimidate him. If you on the bottom left, you see our stats. It's like the Pac-Man face thing is the speech skill. Then we have impression, we have intimidation and stuff.
And you also see the E for everyone rated language in the dialogue.
Exactly. And on the bottom right, we see that we don't see the the stats of Kunesh. So that's another thing. If you level up the speech, you will be able to unlock perks, which give you a chance to see what kind of type he is. But you also learn it through dialogue. And right now, the interesting thing is, and that's what I meant before when I said that your decision matter is that you always have one chance in the dialogue. So I told him, like, give me the money or I will beat you. And usually it says like fail, like in usual games it says fail and you have another chance to choose another option. But here you need to live with the situation. So I said, give me the money or else. And now I'm in a fist fight with Kunesh and I need to beat him up.
So I'm not going to distract you too much while
that's okay.
While you're
I'm
doing
pro.
this.
But it actually, that's a good thing that is that you can lose here. It doesn't matter. It does matter,
Right.
but it changes the quest entirely.
Okay.
And you come up with a new idea.
But one of the things that I wanted to point out is the unarmed combat style. This is one thing that you guys are super proud about because it's your research. You want to be as historically accurate as possible.
Exactly.
And you'll notice that this is open palm fighting. It's not closed fist.
Well, sometimes it differs, but you are right. So we had real sword fighters in the studio who told us that no knight or someone who's a soldier guy would never like fight or was afraid to fight with his with his palms.
And why is that? Yeah.
Well, because when you break your fingers in medieval times, it's you're done kind of because well you don't have modern medicine like today, so breaking your fingers would be a bad thing.
Well, you couldn't hold a sword, and then you couldn't defend yourself, and then you were out of a job.
Exactly. Exactly. So this is, of course, a real problem. So we decided to have a mixture between open palm and closed palm. And yeah, so that's what we did there. The funny thing is I just lost against Kunesh, which is not a big problem, but it just... The problem there is that I don't... If I win, he gives me a key and says, I'm so sorry, I didn't want to, like, get the stuff from your dad. I will take something valuable in my house, and you're free to take it, and goodbye. But now I lost. So the problem is that I cannot take any stuff, and I need to come up with a new idea. So either I go back to my dad and tell him, well, I was beaten up, and my dad will be not very happy with me, but he will give me some money, or I go to the next step, which is the pub in the village we are living. There's a pub in the middle, and if you go there, there's a very interesting story happening. There's like a German guy and some Bohemian guys who are arguing with each other, and they argue about the political situation which is happening. So again, King Sigismund is attacking, and the King of Hungary is attacking, and your Bohemian king is a weak one, and he's not really a good one, but he was kidnapped, and now there's like this raid going on. And the Germans, by that time, because Bohemia was part of the Holy Roman Empire, so there was like German lords and stuff, and they were supporting the invading king, because they thought that this invader will be a good new ruler for Bohemia. But the Bohemians, of course, said, are you mad? Like, he's like killing us, and that's like a huge problem. So yeah, and there, if you listen to the story, you have like your friends are with you there at the pub, and they listen to the stuff, and they say, or they listen to the story, and they say like, this German guy is telling so much shit. How about we take some manure and throw it on his fresh whitened house? So that's something you can do as well. And the interesting part is that you can say, I'll do it, and you go with them, you go to throw the manure, and then like something will happen, of course. Or you can also say, I won't do it. What happens then is that you can, if you wish, you can like follow those friends, because the world or the quest will happen even without you. So if you say you don't do it, they will go there alone, and you can follow them, you can watch them from a distance, and everything will happen even without you. So the game is not built around you, you're just part of it, which is pretty interesting.
Well, that's amazing, because this really is an RPG in the truest sense. You're encouraging players to participate in this world and become, in role play, become the kind of character that they want to be. Whether they want to throw manure on his house, whether they are going to beg for money from their father, and that's obviously going to impact all of their decisions and how everything unfolds. You were touching on how you're a character in this world. The world doesn't necessarily revolve around you. We've talked about in the past of the cycles that NPCs go through. Can you touch on that? Why? Because they're really part of this environment.
One thing I want to add to that is, that because you said you can choose what you do in the game. It's pretty interesting that you don't necessarily have to kill people. Well, there will be at certain points you just have to grab your sword because there's something happening, but you can solve a lot of quests and a lot of stuff in the game without violence, which is pretty interesting. That is, again, it's a role-playing game where you decide what kind of type of player or what kind of Henry you are, like more the violent one or more the peaceful one.
Right.
And about the daily cycles, that's something that's everywhere in the world. So all the NPCs in the world have a daily cycle.
Even the animals?
Well, even the animals, kind of. Yeah. So they have at least an AI system which is smart enough to, for example, sheep to run away from you, or like stay together in a herd and stuff like this. But we have our own. It's a bit complicated, but we have our own AI system which we created our own programming language, and it's called behavior tree. So even trees, even chairs, even bars, everyone has an AI system because they're communicating with each other. It's a bit complicated, but it works pretty well. And yeah, so the daily cycles is something that all the NPCs have. That means that they in the morning they wake up, they go to work, they take their stuff, and they have those cycles, which means that at evening, for example, when they're about to going home, they have some kind of free time where they can choose whatever they want to do, like go to a shop, go to fishing, go to the bar, play dice or something like this, and they're choosing by experience. So if something bad happened to them in the pub, for example, they got beaten up or something, they will remember this, and the next time they're not about to go there anymore. So that means that my game can be a little bit different than yours, where this particular NPC is a drinker in my game, but in your game he's never going to the pub, for example.
I like that because it's whenever games come out, it always turns into kind of like a water cooler conversation of, oh my gosh, have you gotten to this point in the game yet? But with Kingdom Come Deliverance, when you get to this point in the game, your experience might be completely different than someone else's. We've mentioned the monastery in the past. There's a particular way that you can approach it, and several different ways that you can go about that.
Exactly.
So
as you said, there's a monastery where you have to go inside because there's a culprit hiding, and you don't know much about him, only that he has a scar on his face. And if you go inside, there are several ways. Our historian said like there was no way that a commoner could ever get inside a monastery, so we had to come up with ideas in the questing. So there's either you can try to sneak in, like ninja style. We have a sneaking system in the game, so at night you can try to get in and find the right one, but you cannot talk to the people because there's some kind of monk police which will throw you out. So this is one thing. You can also, of course, do like the violent way, just grab your sword and try to kill them all, which is like, you can do this, but it will have a huge impact.
I can't imagine like a worse thing for karma than killing a bunch of monks.
Exactly, and exactly, and this will you will see this in your reputation. There's a reputation system, so people will, either they will know it's you if someone saw you, and if they didn't know it was you in particular, then at least the regular farmers, for example, will be all of a sudden armed, for example, because they know that something bad happened in the area. And then the third option is that you can try to actually pretend that you are enrolling as a monk in the monastery. So you go there with some kind of official paper that you are someone else than you pretend to do, and so on. And you are giving the paper that you enroll in the monastery. But this means that you have to do monk duty. So you will have to learn to read there. You will have to pray with the people. You have to, I don't know. You have to. Learning to read is actually funny because it's a skill in our game. If you open a book, you will have all the letters which are supposed to be there, but they're completely scrambled. So they're it's like the word hello, but it's like the letters are all over the place. But
so
if you,
what you're trying to tell me is that if you don't learn to read in the monastery, you can't read in the game.
Yes and no. Of course, there are workarounds. There will be other options where you can get back to that point, but if you decide not to enroll as a monk in the monastery, decide to do something else, you won't have all this monk gameplay inside the monastery. So you have to, for example, you have to copy paste books in Latin, which you see something written in Latin on the left side. On the right, you need to choose the right passage you want to actually copy. So there's a lot of time-consuming stuff in there because we want we are a monk, right? But you only see this part of the gameplay if you decide to do this. You don't have to. You can, and that's interesting. Yeah. So that's the monastery part, and we have these. Not all of the quests are so branched out that you can do like different stuff. Like it's really there are some of the quests are like straight ahead, kind of, but several quests will completely branch out, and they are even killable. What I mean is that we make sure that the main quest is like always solvable, that we always have a chance to like do the right thing. But on side quests, it can happen that you choose the wrong answer, that you kill the wrong guy, that you do something that completely kills the quest, and it's gone.
Yeah, it's amazing because whenever I think about Kingdom Come Deliverance, the word comes to mind about is realism, and that you've echoed that a million times with how your approach to the game is, whether it's in the historical accuracy, whether it's in the combat. One of my favorite things that you guys talk about is your physics system with collision of weapons. Specifically, you've mentioned pole arms, like halberds, in tight corridors. Talk to me a little bit about that.
Yes, we have in our inventory we have a 14 layers or 14 slots layering system for your armor. That means that you can layer different types of armor or fabrics over each other, and different types of armors are good against different types of weapons. So like something soft is good against blunt weapon, well, better against blunt weapons. Something hard is very good against swords, and so on. And this is like a stone, paper, scissors system with your weapons. So we have this something we call the physical collision model. So we know where I hit you with the sword. So if I'm attacking you and I hit your head, for example, we know where I hit you, and we know what kind of weapon you use and what kind of armor I hit. So that's the way how we then count the numbers of how much damage you dealt. So again, if you have like a full plate armor on your body everywhere but no helmet, 1 or 2 hits on your head can immediately kill you.
Oh, wow.
On the other way around, if you're completely naked and have only a helmet on, and you get only hits on the head, then you might survive. But if you get poked in the stomach, you're dead. So it's like this kind of system. And it's pretty interesting that you have to think about this situation, because if you in our game you can have the full plate armor and you have a helmet on the top, and this helmet will have a visor. Which gives you full protection, of course. But through the visor, you have like really visible, really limited visibility. No, vision.
Yeah.
That's
either or.
Limited vision. So once you have this on your head, you're not able anymore to see really good. Well, you can still see, but you have to decide: do you want to be fully protected like a medieval tank, or do you want to be like running around, being quick, being agile and stuff? So it's like a lot of like preparing you need to do in ahead. Yeah.
So you mentioned that like collision based on how you attack and based on that, but it's also about if your length of your weapon in a tight corridor, you can't swing.
Yes. Exactly. Sorry, forgot that.
No, you're fine.
It's like if you, due to the physical collision model, we know if you are too close to a wall on the right side, left side, or whatever. So if we know that you are close to a wall on your right side, you are not able to swing from your right. From the right side. And for those who don't know Kingdom Come yet, we have like if you're fighting with someone, there's like this rose in the middle with 5 directions. You can attack the head, the shoulders, and the hips, or stab in the middle, and there you can chain your attacks.
Perfect. So we've got through a lot here, Toby. But yeah, thank you so much for coming on today. Thank you so much for coming out at E3. We're demoing it for everyone in the Warhorse booth here at E3 2017. But yeah. Thank you again, Square Enix Presents, for hosting the titles. We are showing off Kingdom Come Deliverance, coming worldwide February 13th, 2018 to Xbox One, PS4, and PC. Again, thank you, Toby, so much for coming out here.
Thank you for
and have a great E3, everybody.